Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I am back here because I'm gonna do my September wrap-up and October TBR. I know it's like almost the middle of October already, which is insane. It's going, like the weeks are going by so fast. And I have been like pretty much like in a phase where I'm like really not doing anything in my life right now. And it's not really depression, it's just a very like limbo state of like not doing really anything, and it's really bad because I'm not being productive as I should be. But at least I am reading the Bible and I'm reading certain things. But unfortunately, the month of September was really bad for me, reading wise, because well, all the books that I read except one were horrible. I did not like them, and I feel like at the first glance that I kind of read something, I should stop reading it. And for me, I'm not sure if it's just me that I'm being very nitpicky or just very picky. I'm not sure. But for me, I'm like, I really don't like these books because it has like certain language and I'm like, I don't like it. So like, let's just get started with this because I kind of want this to be a book rant because these books I did not, I really didn't like. So let's just get started. So the first two books that I was reading in the month of September was, I believe, the first one was Zenith, which I already mentioned in my book haul last month, and the second one was I think it was a contemporary book. It's called A Likely Story. I got those from the library. I returned them, so I don't have it with me. But the first one I'm gonna be spoiling. I'm gonna do some spoilers, and which is Zenith, and I'm gonna just do a kind of a rant. So if you don't want any spoilers or anything like that, I'll just put a time skip where you can like just skip the time of the video and just skip it so you won't have to hear spoilers and all that stuff. But if you guys are here ready for spoilers, and let's go ahead and get started. For Zenith, I did not I liked it at the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. I was almost like two-thirds of the way through the book, like reading through the book. And at first I liked the book. It was action packed. It was really good. I liked it a lot. But this scene, the whole book was really good, but it just led to this one scene where like I guess a general was like pretty much capturing or kidnapping this like queen of a planet or whatever, and like she was pretty much seducing this general, and the general was already married. I'm like, I do not like this. I don't know. I don't like where this is leading. I don't like where this is going. I don't like this because that's obviously adultery. So I like the beginning of the book, but then when that ended up, I think I stopped at 250, page 250 of the book. That's where I stopped. I think it was 257 around there, and it was like 500 pages of the book. So I was almost going to like 3/3 of the book. I'm sorry, it's like two-thirds of the book. Sorry. So that was the only thing that I did not like at all. Like it was the only thing. Like the rest was really good. I liked it a lot, but that scene, I was like, I do not like where this is going, and they did it, ending up having a sexual act, and I didn't like it at all. So because she was, I guess, imprisoned and kidnapped by this general, and like I guess this kind of queen or whatever like, was kidnapped, was seducing or whatever this general or whatever, and I didn't like it, and they ended up doing that, and I'm like, I didn't like it. I started reading from then on. So I didn't like that, but that is the end of the spoiler. I'm not gonna spoil anymore. But I am going to admit that I did not like that book at all, like, after I read that. So the second book that I read, it was called A Likely Story. I've never heard of this book before, but I was reading it. I got it from the library, and I was like, I'm interested in it. At the beginning, I started to like it, but also there's a couple of cuss words, and I was like, okay, I don't mind this. This is fine. But when they started saying something derogatory or like something very like vulgar, and I was like, no, I stopped reading then, and I didn't read a whole lot. I think I read like 20 pages, 30 pages, and that's where I had something. That's where the book had something being said that I did not like at all, and it was something pretty derogatory. Um, and I can't explain it because it's pretty derogatory. It's just like vulgar, so I'm not gonna say it. But that was it. After that, I stopped reading it because I didn't like it. I was like, you know what, stop. And that was pretty much it for the book. I stopped reading it then. I didn't like it, because it said something very inappropriate. I was like, I don't like this. But yeah, I stopped then. I stopped at that moment when I read that. That was also the thing that I think that was the same thing that happened with Plum Island, which I actually have here. Um, Plum Island was the same situation with A Likely Story. I bought this from 8 Books, I believe, and I think I got it for $5, and I did not like it because I think I read the first few pages of the book, and even then I was like, I do not like this. Like, there was a couple cuss words in this, and I was like, okay, that's fine. If there's a book that has cuss words sparingly, like occasionally, that's fine. I don't mind. That's fine. But if it has it like consistently, like, I don't like it. I do not like it. So for this one, it had it a lot, kind of. But also I went ahead and read a little bit of the second book, and it was very inappropriate. I was like, I do not like this series. I'm not gonna like it. Like, I stopped reading it. So I stopped reading it completely altogether. And I'm gonna start spoiling again. Sorry, guys. If you wanna, again, skip the time, I'll put it here. But for the spoiler, I didn't like it because there's a side character who was talking to the main character, that was saying something like, I don't know, I don't want to say it, but like, he said if it floats, flies, or the F word, something like that, rent it, something like that. I didn't like that, guys. I had no idea that was coming. I was like, nope, not reading it. So that was the first few pages of the book. I think the 4th page of the book, probably. But I didn't like that. And again, I read the second book that I have. Like, actually, I don't have it. But I read it, and it was like very sexual. I was like, I do not like this. So that was the end of the spoiler. Again, I didn't like either of the books that I went ahead and read. So I was like, I'm not gonna like this series at all. I'm not gonna like it. So that was the same situation with Plum Island and A Likely Story. Alright, so I do unfortunately have a 4th one besides those 3. And actually, it's Alice Grace, unfortunately. For the most part, I did like it. I did like it. It was very old-fashioned. It was kind of like a Victorian style, like, book. Very old-fashioned. They even have like a hymn there, like some hymns. They talked about Christianity a lot. And all stuff like that. They were talking about a reverend or whatever. Like, they were keep talking about like reverend this or that. I don't know, whatever. And they talk about Christianity. Surprisingly, they did. And the main character, I think Grace, is her name. She was in prison. She was confined, like a confined like room, and she was in prison in a mental, I think, asylum. But there's some good stuff there. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, she was singing, like, when she was confined in that room, she was like, in the morning she woke up and she got like kind of readied herself and like started like singing this hymn or whatever. I was surprised there was some Christianity in here. I was like surprised. But the thing that I didn't like, I don't know if it's gonna be spoiled. I don't know, but you can just give the time again to like 10 seconds ahead or something like that, or like 30 seconds ahead. But the thing I didn't like about this is that there's the word spiritualists, and at the beginning of the book, it had that word in it, but I'm like, I don't know what that word is. I'm just gonna skip it. I'm just gonna continue reading it. But again, they had that book. They had that that word, and I was like, what is that? So I googled it, because at the beginning of the book, they're talking about like how the governor's wife like was seeking spiritualists because she lost her infant son or whatever. And then again they said it like furthering the book, like again they said it later in the book, And again, that word was there, and I googled it, and I'm like, I don't know what that word is because it's very old fashioned. Because it's very old fashioned. Like it's like based off of like I think early 1800s, like 1840 something like that, 1850, and based on Toronto, Canada, whatever. And I went ahead and googled it. The Google's researched like the the word spiritualist, and it ends up that it means like a medium, and like I don't like that. That's like involving New Age, involving like that sort of stuff, and that I don't like. That is, I don't want nothing to do with, and I ended up just like DNFing it altogether because I didn't like that it was involving that. Like, don't get me wrong, the spiritual side, like the Christianity side, I did like, but the medium stuff, I like no. So that's why I stopped reading it, and yeah, that's pretty much the reason. So for the most part, I did like it. It did talk about Christianity a lot, and even have like a general involved in the book, like a character in the book that's a reverend, and I did like it, but like that part, I'm like no, because it involves that sort of spirituality. I'm like I don't like it, so that's why I DNF'd it. And I think the only one that I have left are these two, and I'm gonna talk this one about this one first because I didn't get too far into it because it did start costing a lot too, um, and I did. This is the first book in the series, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mention that. I think it's a first book in a trilogy, and I have the third book in my bed on my bed. It's called Dark Angel, but this one is kind of like a suspense kind of book. But this book did take a lot of things. I don't know. I didn't like it because first, it took the Lord's name in vain. Second, it like had a lot of Catholic ties in it, like calling someone father, like calling someone like it's just a priest or whatever, like very just Catholic ties, I guess, or like mentioning a lot of Catholicism kind of things in there. I don't know. It's just tying a lot of things in there that I would like based on Catholicism, and that's mostly why I DNF'd it. I don't think that I should be reading this as a Christian. Just my personal opinion, I don't think I should be. I don't know that. I mean, nitpicky. I don't know, but this is like me, like not because I come from Catholicism, and me coming from Catholicism and becoming a Christian and just reading about this, I'm like I do not like this. I don't want to read about this. I just don't like it. So that's pretty much it. I didn't really get too much into this. I think I only got up to like 10 pages into this. Again, I don't know if I'm being nitpicky at all. I don't know. Let me know, guys, because I don't like any of these books because of certain reasons. I have like, yeah, I don't like it. But the only book that I actually read was this book that I read a part of this back in June of this year, and I didn't finish it because I had other things to do. I never got the time to finish it. I think I got around to the last few pages, but I started reading it again from the beginning, and I really loved it. And actually, this goes because the author has two books. It's this one and this one, and she this is a memoir, and she actually talks about this book in her memoir. And she actually is a girl who she wrote this back in the 90s. She went to high school in the 90s. It was a very long time ago. But she was a girl who had dyscalculia, which means that she can tell time. She didn't know anything about math. She couldn't add, subtract, or anything like that. She couldn't like tell time. She couldn't open her locker when she was in high school or middle school. She couldn't tell anything like that. She couldn't like open her locker because of the locker combination. Like she didn't know about numbers. Her mind went blank pretty much. So this is her memoir about that, and like I love this book. I give it like a 5 out of 5 stars. I think I read this like back in January. I started reading in January, but I think I finished it like in May or June because I just didn't have the time to finish it. But that one's really good. I love that one. But she also mentioned in this book, she mentioned how she wrote this book, and she started like having having conferences, speeches and conferences in high school and all that stuff. And she mentions how she wrote this book with someone else. I think an artist or like a painter or something like that. And there's like a lot of watercolor paintings in here that the painter painted for her, and she did the poems. It's pretty much like a poetry book, and it's like really, really nice. I love the illustrations. It's very much like a, I don't know, like a, I think like a, how do you call it? Like an abstract painting maybe, or like a, maybe something like that. But it's very just, I don't know. I think it's abstract, very like simplistic, I think, but also like very nice. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but if you could go ahead and read it, it's so good. I loved it. It's like really she goes ahead and writes some amazing poems, honestly. So this book is honestly really good, and both of these are really good. I think I gave both of these 5 stars this year, and I love these. These are the only books that I read this year that I actually liked. I enjoyed. But other than that, guys, I think that that's all I read for September, and I really enjoyed them. Those two especially, but the rest I did not like at all. But a suggestion for you guys, I want to ask you guys something. If you guys have any like clean books that are not derogatory or vulgar or like inappropriate at all, that you guys recommend for me, because for some reason I can't find some books that I actually like. Because for me, so for some reason, I like inspirational books that are like motivational for me, and like that people kind of like go through this struggle, this journey of like kind of overcoming something. And I kind of like those books, but I also like clean books that are not inappropriate at all. So I don't know. I feel like as a Christian, I feel like I kind of like those books that are not inappropriate, kind of motivational and stuff. And I don't know. But yeah, if you guys have any books that are kind of just clean and they're not really inappropriate at all, or like, you know, kind of sexual or anything like that, please let me know, because I would love to know what your recommendations are for this. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to the October TBR, because I don't have a lot, but there are some good books that I want to read this month. So I got these books. They're not a lot, but it's mostly children's books, but I wanted to get to these because I don't know, I'm interested in them. So the first 3 that I got from 8 books from the online are these 3, which is Goosebumps. So the first one is, I believe, Welcome Dead House. That's the first book. Yeah, Welcome to the Dead House. Then the second one is Stay Out of the Basement by Goosebumps. Sorry, but R.L. Stein, I don't know why I said Goosebumps. And then the third one is Monster Blood, and that's like the third of the series, I believe. And if I finish all these and want to buy more, I'll just go ahead and buy more. But these are the first 3 that I want to read for October. And by the way, guys, I don't celebrate Halloween at all. I'm interested in like reading those books because they're like kind of creepy. But yeah, the second one, the fourth one, not really second one. The fourth one I want to read is actually Studying Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle. I think this is the Oxford edition of Sherlock Holmes, but it's Studying Scarlet, and it is the first, I believe it's the first one in the series, or in the first one in the trilogy. I'm not too sure. I think it's the first one in the series, I believe, because I think it's like 6 books, I believe. I'm not too sure. But this one's like Studying Scarlet. I bought this online, and I think it's really interesting. I don't know. It's like 124 pages. It's not that bad, actually. It's the same thing with this Goosebumps. Each one is like 124 pages, 130 pages, I think. They're not that long. Neither is this one. So these are really short. And I think I can finish them in like 2 days, or even 1 day, if I'm like very determined to finishing them. But the next ones are Harriet. But the next one is Harriet the Spy. This one's about 400 pages, I believe. This one's not... It's longer than usual. Actually, it's 300 pages. So it's longer than usual. It's the first book in the series, I believe, Harriet the Spy. And also, this one's about... I want to say 230 pages, I believe. And this one's Harriet Spies Again, by the same author, which is, I believe, Lewis Fitzhugh. So this one's like 300 pages. This one's like 250 pages, around there. So these are very short. For the most part, these are very short books. This one's like the longest book out of all of them. But those are all of them. I believe that all of them. I might, if I finish all of these, I might go for the guest list. because that one's really it's over there, but like I don't want to get up and get it because I'm kind of lazy. But these are for the most part all of them. And if I finish all these, I should just go ahead and get the sequels. So yeah, for the most part, that's pretty much it for that. But that is all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are having a great day, a great night, wherever you are. I hope you guys are having a great night, a cozy night. I know it's fall already. These are changing, at least where I'm at. These are actually barely changing, and they haven't changed at all, actually. It's barely starting. But I hope you guys are having a great readathon, whatever you're having, great reading month. And I hope you guys enjoy this video.